Welcome to the Road in Between. We are right here in the city of Between, established in 1908. It is in the middle of Atlanta and Athens, Georgia. I grew up in Atlanta. I went to school in Athens, as well as a good friend of mine named Robert Hancock. He is a orthopedic surgeon in Athens, and we're going to go be with Robert and see what it's like to be a sports doctor for the Georgia football team in Athens. The question today, though, is, are you in between? Are you in between marriages, or in between jobs or careers? Are you in between schools, perhaps? The good news is that God lives exactly in between, and He'll meet us right there. And He's got great plans for you and for me. We look forward to sharing these stories with you today on the Road in Between.
Thoughts keep running through my head as I walk this road with nothing ahead. The sun beams down on my face as I walk this road that leads to amazing grace.
The Road in Between with Tom Sikes is sponsored by John O'Neill Johnson Toyota, CRM Companies, Archer Architecture, Mitchell Signs and Imprints, Glass Incorporated, Benefits Management Group.
I was here back in '85.
Yes, sir.
One of the things I remember about Athens is that I got invited to be a big brother for a little boy named Rico, and he was 9 years old, and Rico and I would have dinner together about every night. I was surrounded by people, but I was also kind of lonely, and I thought I was helping Rico, but he was really helping me out.
Yes, sir.
And we would go to the Dairy Queen, and I didn't have much money at all, and what would happen is there would be I'd have like a couple of bucks on me, and so we would go get a full meal deal at Dairy Queen, get a cheeseburger, French fries, a Coke, and a hot fudge sundae, and we would split that meal together. And as I look back over my life, God really gave me little Rico to give me a friendship here.
Yes, sir.
And it is strange, though, like I was saying earlier, you know, when you're surrounded by a bunch of people, yet you're looking for that real close friend to have, and God sometimes surprises you on the road in between with,
yes, sir,
with somebody you never expect. And I don't know where Rico Williams is today, but he's from Athens. I'd love to catch up with him. So if you ever get a chance to be a big brother,
yes, sir,
for the Wesley Foundation or the group that you're with, it's a great opportunity to do mission work. You know?
Yes, sir.
Gosh, it's so cold here. It's windy right here.
It's freezing right now.
I know it. You know, Georgia and Mississippi boys, we're not
yes,
used
sir.
to this.
No, sir, we're not. No,
this
sir.
is really North Georgia.
It is.
All right, tell us about this archway. What's the tradition here?
Well, this is the infamous arch of the state of Georgia. It's on the seal of the state of Georgia. And here at the University of Georgia, the arch symbolizes completion. And when you graduate, or before you graduate, you're not allowed to pass under the arch. So you, of course, can go under, but it would be very risky for me to go under because tradition has it, or University of Georgia lore is that if someone who has not graduated, or a student who hasn't graduated yet with a degree from the university, will not graduate if they pass under the arch.
Oh, God. We don't want that to happen to you,
sir.
Charles.
No, sir.
We want you to graduate from here.
Yes, sir.
This is a prestigious university. To
Yes,
get
sir.
into this school, you basically have to have a 4.0. pretty
Well,
much.
Yes, sir.
I mean, they have elevated the level of students here, and for you to be at the University of Georgia is huge. Most people could never make it
Yes, sir.
here, and you have, and God has placed you here for a reason. All right, I'm going to go underneath this arch
Yes,
because
sir.
I did graduate from here.
I'll walk around.
But when you do graduate, I want to go under
Yes,
this
sir.
arch with you.
Yes, sir, we will.
Does that sound good?
That sounds great.
I'll see you around the
All
bend.
right.
All right, here we go. One day.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. One day.
We're glad you're here.
Yes, sir.
Let's have a prayer. I'll lift
right.
you as we complete this first year of your school. Loving God, I thank you for Charles, and I thank you for calling him.
Stick around. The road in between will be right back.
John O'Neill Johnson Toyota has been serving customers for over 20 years with integrity, honesty, and value. We want to thank you, our customers, for helping us win so many awards. Now we're #1 in Gulf States Toyota for market share 2 years in a row. Multiple winner of Toyota's President Award and 6-time Gold Dealer recognition. And the reason is simple. Customer satisfaction is our #1 priority.
John O'Neill Johnson, a name you can trust. Toyota, a product you can depend on.
We're back with The Road in Between with Tom Sikes.
Here we are at the University of Georgia. I'm at Hynes doghouse. He's the most famous mascot in the Southeast. This is where I went to school, the University of Georgia, and I graduated in 1985. I've always wanted to see what was inside this doghouse. Believe it or not, he's got an air conditioner. But when we're in the doghouse, it's not so nice. We know we're in trouble. Have you ever been in trouble like that? You just know it. Maybe you're having trouble getting out of the doghouse, getting back to life. David, in the book of Psalms, wrote Psalm 51 because he knew he was in the doghouse. And he says, blot out my transgressions, for my sin is ever before me. He had committed adultery and committed murder. And yet God loved him. God brought him out into the clean air, gave him grace, and he became one of the great men of the Bible. Think about that the next time you find yourself in the doghouse. This is Tom Sikes for another Hush in the Rush moment on The Road in Between. Well, we are here at Sanford Stadium. We are in the press box. This is hallowed ground. We're surrounded by all these famous people and famous moments. I've got Robert Hancock, my dear friend.
Great to be here.
We grew up together, Robert, in Atlanta, and now we are back here at the University of Georgia.
Come a long way. Come a long way.
We've come a long way.
Third grade.
Since third grade, that's right.
Yeah.
And you've always been the athlete, and I've always been the one in the stands cheering for you.
You're a pretty good athlete.
I don't know. I don't know about
You
that.
pushed us.
Now, your father, being an orthopedist, and you're an orthopedist, and your brother's an orthopedist.
Yes. Down in South Georgia.
And I know your father just passed away recently.
Yes, he's led a good long life. He was, and he was in missions as well. Once he finished up practice in the early 90s, he actually got in mission work. He traveled to Alaska several times, I think Russia 16, 17 times,
Yeah.
China, and I was actually supposed to go with him one time to China. We got some of the reps to get some of the arthroscopy equipment and surgery equipment and send it over there, and
Okay.
and I was supposed to go over there with him, and then 9/11 came, and so so I had to bail out on that trip. But
Well, he knew all the languages, didn't he? He knew Russian.
he could enough to get a he had a gift for languages, so
Yeah.
he would.
Amazing.
I don't have that.
I don't have it either, but you
little,
got to get
little
it for
Georgia
medicine.
Spanish, yeah.
Now, you are the sports doctor here, and you know, I watch the games on TV in Mississippi, and I'm watching Georgia, and then all of a sudden somebody gets injured, and here comes Robert Hancock out onto the field.
Well, I hope I don't get on the field.
I know you don't want to get on the field. But you seem to be on the field a lot lately.
It's been, the last few years been pretty busy.
Pretty busy for Georgia.
Now, we've got a great group of guys. Ron Corson, head of athletic training, and he does most of the assessments and takes care of most of the rehab and everything like that. But he keeps us organized, and but he's between him and the other trainers and PAs, we got a great, and other docs, we've got a great group there, and it is pretty much the same core for the last several years. This is, as I was telling you, I've been here almost 20 years, traveling with the football team like 17 years. Okay. So
you've seen a lot of them come through.
Yeah. In a few years, we get to go to Notre Dame. I might get to see touchdown Jesus. But
there you go. There you go.
Been to most of the stadiums around.
Well, you've taken care of a lot of big players, big-time players, and I know what an honor it is for you to be over that operating table, knowing that you've been gifted by God to to bring healing.
Yeah. Well, it's a lot of trust too, trusting that He does the healing. I tell folks, we just put the anatomy back in place.
That's right.
He does all the healing.
That's right. Well, let me tell you what, Robert, you and I have been not only in Georgia, but we have been to the Holy Land together.
Yeah.
And in 1999, we went, and I got the flu
experience.
while I was there. You took care of me there. But we really did experience some very special bonding times of friends.
Still think of that quite often.
It's been very special. You know, when Jesus would send out the 12, he sent them out by twos, and he sent out Simon Peter with John. And I've always felt like you're John, you're the thinking, smart, rational, clear-minded person, and I'm Simon Peter, the guy who sticks his foot in his mouth and speaks when he shouldn't, and yet God brought them together, and I think God's brought us together.
I believe that too.
You know, you got a son, Bo.
Yes.
And Bo is how old now?
Bo just turned 12.
Just turned 12, and I saw he was recently a ball boy on one of the games.
Yeah. Oh, he loved it. We get here usually about an hour. We go to tailgate for a while. Usually get here, come down to the game about an hour before game time. They're all warming up. I mean, there's not really that many game time decisions unless, except we'll see how they do in warm-ups. But for the most part, most of the decisions are made by then, and then they warm up. And
does the player know if they're going to play or not ahead of time?
Sometimes they'll say they had a sprained ankle or something like that. We tape it, and they will do the warm-ups, and if they can't go, if they can't push off on it, then we just hold them back.
So you would say to Coach Rick or one of the coaches, yay or nay? Or
usually, or Ron Corson does most of the, as far as communicating with the coaches, or that they ask us how,
Yeah.
But, I mean, these guys, and especially, it's a lot easier before the game. Once they're into the game, you almost can't keep them out. I've seen them break legs or something like that and want to go, and they're ready to go back in the game.
Well, like Herschel Walker with his shoulder, right?
He dislocated his shoulder, and my older partner popped it back in. And in fact, he told Coach Dooley, he says he dislocated his shoulder. He probably doesn't need to be, catching passes or anything.
Yeah.
Next play was a screen pass.
Oh gosh, golly!
So,
how about that? Okay, Vince, that's right.
But yeah, I remember seeing one guy, and we were checking out his foot, and it thought it was broken. The coach comes over and says, "You're ready to go back in, aren't you?" And he said, "Yeah, I'm ready."
And it was broken. It was a broken foot.
Yeah. So I said, "No, he's not quite ready."
But
so
adrenaline.
we got X-rays. Yeah, the adrenaline gets them, and they're ready to go.
Right. Well, this is a big arena. This is where sports happens. This is really the religion of football. And you really capture the passion that's here. But being down on the field, it's got to be an amazing place. In a way, it's a little like holy ground, in that so many memories have happened here in Sanford Stadium.
Yeah, Between the Hedges is pretty special. And as far as a view, it's not a great to watch the game on the field, because I can't see over the 6'5" linemen. But to catch the energy, they just always. Although it's hard, as we were talking about before, you don't want to get too encroached in the game, because like seeing those guys, you say, well, yeah, coach, he can go back in,
because you're personally involved.
You've got to have an objective.
Yeah. Like I'll text you during the game, you know, or right at the end of the game, so upset because we've lost it or whatever, and then you know you have to kind of be objective. You got to stay pretty objective too.
Yeah. Plus all the HIPAA laws, I can't tell you.
You can't tell me anything. I know.
But, yeah, I get my brother and my brother-in-law and everybody's texting me. I usually just kind of look at it and.
That's right. That's right. Well, you're in a very privileged place, and you
Yes.
know it. And you've been called. You've been called into not only medicine, but you've been called into ministry. You ministered to a lot of people here, but you've really ministered to me through the years. You've been with me through my parents' passing, through my brother's passing, and also through my good times.
Well, you've always had the gift of communication. I'm more the quiet one, and I can do medicine, and I think, you know, as they say, you're called to do what your specialty is, or what, and I feel like I can do that, and that serves, and you can talk.
Do the talking. Well, listen, I love you, and it means the world to me that you've been with us on the road in between. You've been a big sponsor for us on the show too. I want to thank you for that, and
best of luck.
Thank you for that. Well, we've been between the hedges, and you live between the hedges. We all live on that road in between faith and culture, and here it's faith and sports, and it's a real holy ground, I think, indeed. So thank you, Robert. We're grateful.
Thank you.
All right.
Stick around. The Road in Between will be right back. In today's world where most businesses and corporations' main mission is to simply make profit, CRM Companies differs itself by focusing on being successful in a way that also promotes growth and prosperity in the community. CRM Companies isn't simply a commercial development and management company. They create opportunities, they create jobs, they maximize the potential for growth and development of a better community, all while still providing great services and outstanding customer relations. Learn more about CRM Companies and their mission today. Visit crmco.com. We're back with The Road in Between with Tom Sikes.
Here we are at the bench at the University of Georgia, Sanford Stadium. To be on the football team has got to be absolutely amazing, to have your own jersey number, to have your name on the back of it. But sometimes you never even get in the game, so you find yourself sitting on the bench. Sometimes you don't feel too good about yourself there. Bench warmers. There's a very famous bench warmer in the Bible. His name is Joshua. Moses gets all the credit. Moses is the one who is called by God in Mount Sinai. Moses is the one who brings the people out of Egypt into the wilderness. But the interesting thing is that Moses is not the one who brings them into the promised land. Guess who it is? It is the bench warmer who gets called into the game. His name is Joshua, and God says, be strong and courageous. Think about that the next time you find yourself as a bench warmer. This is Tom Sikes for another Hush in the Rush moment on the Road in Between. We are here with Kevin Hynes. Your nickname is Chappy. And with Robert Hancock, the orthopedist. So we got the doctor and we got the chaplain here with the parson. Back here at the University of Georgia, I have not been back in a long time. And I'm in the hallowed grounds of this press box. Y'all have never even been up here, is that right?
I've never been up there.
I don't recall.
Yeah.
And I'm not a politician. I just don't recall.
What is it like to be a chaplain? What's the sense of call? Is it, I know it's an honor to be considered one of the chaplains.
You know, people ask me all the time, what do you do as a chaplain? What does a chaplain do, you know? And I kind of broke it down into an acrostic that I feel God gave me early on here, is I love people. L-O-V-E. I listen to them. James 1:19 says, be quick to listen, slow to speak, slow to anger. So if I'm dealing with a coach or a player, I'll just sit there and ask them a question, just listen. And so I'll listen to them and then I'll offer them. 2 Timothy 3:16 says that all Scripture is God-breathed and is profitable for teaching, rebuking, correcting, and training in righteousness. Hebrews 4:12 says the Bible is living and active and sharper than any two-edged sword. It goes to the depths of the marrow, soul and the
Yeah.
marrow, and knows the thoughts of the mind and the intents of the heart. So I'll just open the Word and just love on these coaches, families, staff, whoever. The next thing I do is I value them. I value everybody as a child. I value them as somebody's grandson, somebody's son, somebody's dad, whoever. So I listen to them, I open the scriptures, I offer them biblical teaching, I value them. I value them as people. And then lastly, I encourage. Hebrews 10:24 and 25 says, let us consider how we may spur one another on to love and good deeds.
What about the highs? Which is tougher for ministry? When you great victory, or is it when there's a real low point?
So when we're losing, ministry is much harder. When we're winning, it's the rabbit foot.
Oh yeah.
Man, I got to be in the Chappy. Man, Chappy's gonna. Oh yeah, I've seen it. Yeah. So I love them through it all. It doesn't matter to me.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? It hurts me that they don't come on certain times. But when we're in a losing couple of games, it's scarce in there.
Yes.
But when we're winning, ministry is good, man. Everybody's happy. Everybody's doing good. Everybody pats you. Hey, Chappy. When you're losing, you go by. They're like, not right now, Chap.
Yeah.
Because they know I'm going to bring something in there. Not right now.
Exactly. Let me cuss it out.
Yeah. But I'm at the point in my ministry, Coach, look at me. Bro, keep working hard, but man, come on, man. I mean,
It's got to be helpful to have a coach and staff that are
believers.
Yeah,
Hey, Mark Rick, man, we may not agree with everything he does, but there's no guile or deceit in him. There's just no guile or deceit. He's a beautiful human being. We just don't agree with everything sometimes, you know, but that's okay.
Yeah.
He's getting paid the big bucks to do and to call the plays and to hire the staff and to lead the troops. So we just step back and gripe sometimes and complain, but I love the man and I respect him. And again, but it's a funny game, man. But it's a game.
You're right. It's fleeting though, and like you're one injury away. These knees that you work on, shoulders. Gosh, somebody's career is just. So what you offer is that stability, that foundation, that what it's really about, and
the hope.
Yes.
The hope of the gospel.
Right.
He's always there at the surgeries.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
We go in there, man. You get a young man. And all over the years, we've had young men. They've never been really injured. They get here and something really happens, and they go to St. Mary's. I mean, the official healthcare provider for the University of Georgia Athletic Association. No. And Athens Orthopedic Clinic. No.
Yeah.
But I'm just saying that you get these young people, these young student athletes, never had a shot or never needles, or they're scared to death.
Yeah.
Their parents can afford to travel 3, 4, 5 hours to come to be at the bedside.
Yeah.
But so they're a superstar. Michael Bennett at the ball game.
Yeah.
He's had 2. Popped the ACL again.
Right. I know it.
So when you go in there and he's there, he's devastated.
Yeah.
You go in, you bring the hope of the gospel.
Yeah.
You just love on him, encourage him as best you can.
Sure.
And pray that God is real to them and God's Holy Spirit can minister to them at such a deep place that they'll be okay. But it's sad. It's to watch these guys get hurt is awful.
Oh.
That's the worst part of this job.
Yeah.
I remember Reggie Weeks. I first got here. I was young, and I was young in the ministry, and he snapped, and his knee and his foot was over here, and his knee's over here, and I cried with him.
Yeah.
I cried with him. Oh.
Yeah. Yeah.
But then to see them triumph and do well, and come back and say,
and like you were saying earlier about his ministry.
Yes.
I don't think sometimes we get it. When I was a deputy sheriff in Florida, I got saved in 1989. In 1999, I became a deputy. You know what I was? I was a minister of the gospel on the police force.
Yeah, right.
He is a minister of the gospel using the abilities that he says. So when they do that, and he's there, and then they go see him, and he puts them back together, and then we rehab them, and we're praying, and then you see him running again, or you see him succeeding. Oh, that's got to be so, for me on a personal note, it's awesome, but for him on a professional and a personal note, because we do care about these kids.
Right.
We really do. You care about them.
Absolutely. Well, you know, sometimes when people get healed, they don't come back to say thank you. Robert, we talked about that through ministry. Through all the years we've been together, 50 years.
My dad is a former Marine. My dad raised my brother and I. My dad kissed me and hugged me every day of my life. He's 79 years old. I love my dad. I was probably 20 years old. I was home on leave. I was in the Marine Corps. I remember this so vividly. We were at a store, and I opened the door, and he went through, and then two people went through, and they didn't say anything. And I said, "You're welcome." And my dad turned around and said, "Well, what was that all about?" I said, "Well, I just held the door for those people, and they didn't say nothing." He says, "So you're telling me you held the door to elicit a response? You didn't hold the door because I taught you manners and I taught you respect and I taught you to hold doors for people, for strangers? If you're going to hold doors just to hear a thank you, don't hold the door, Kevin." Yeah. And that thing, it stuck with me. Yeah. So if I'm doing this for the thanks, right, I'd be disappointed. Yeah. A lot. If I'm doing this for the money, I'll be disappointed a lot. If I'm doing this for the fame or anything else, but for the calling and the high calling that God has put on my life, yep, I'm going to be pretty disappointed. Yep. I can't wait for people to thank me. I can't wait for people to, you know, again, we got to run to them.
Right. So. Very good. Very good. It's awesome. Ministry of Presence is powerful. You're the general healer. You know, we're the spokespeople. We can talk it. You know, the Word of God. You were saying. You know, when you open it up and let it go into the very marrow, it goes into the parts that they need it, and is really awesome. Well, I want to thank you guys. Yes.
It's not only awesome, it's true. Mm-hmm. It's the truth. Mm-hmm. That man fell, that God saw our need. He sent His one and only begotten Son into this world. Jesus grew in wisdom and stature. And at 33 years old was falsely accused, falsely arrested, falsely convicted, hung on a tree, died, was buried, and on the third day He rose again to the glory of God the Father. That's hope. That's the gospel. That's reconciliation. That's what I'm here to do. I'm here to present the good news of the gospel of Jesus Christ to anyone that'll listen.
Y'all are in the same business.
Oh, yeah.
You guys are together. You guys are together, man. This is awesome. Right. Thank you for being on the road in between, Kevin.
Thank you for having me. I really do appreciate it, man.
You got it.
Appreciate it, Rob.
Roberto, thank you. Love you.
Love you too.
Stick around. The road in between will be right back.
Award-winning, quality, experience. Glass Incorporated's expert team can handle single window panes to entire high-rise buildings. Whether you need storefronts, glass replacement, mirrors, or shower enclosures, no job is too big or too small. Glass Incorporated, your commercial and residential glass experts. Locations in Meridian, Foley, Alabama, and the Mississippi Gulf Coast.
We're back with The Road in Between with Tom Sikes.
Here we are in the locker room with The Road in Between with Robert Hancock. Robert, thanks for sharing your story with us.
Thank you.
Today. It's been good. This is the place of victory, and they've taken out all the ceiling tiles. The reason is because they're throwing all the Gatorade up in, and it would knock the ceiling tiles out. This is the place where you want to celebrate life. Do you have a place like that in your life? Are you truly celebrating life? We invite you to come to know Jesus Christ, who is the one who brings truth, and He brings life. The word for victory in Greek is the word Nike. Interestingly enough, Nicodemus comes from the word victory over the people. He's the one who went to Jesus late at night, where we get the John 3:16. And it is about victory. And the Nike swoosh is available to all of us as we come to Jesus Christ. As you go forth from here, know that you go nowhere by accident. Wherever you go, God is sending you. God has a purpose in your being there, and He's given His Holy Spirit to you. Take care. We'll see you next time on The Road in Between.
The Road in Between would also like to thank these fine sponsors. Closed captioning is brought to you by BMG, Benefits Management Group.
I'm on my way. I can't wait to see the brighter day. I'm can't wait to see the brighter day. I can't wait to see the brighter day.